you know that to have a successful business, you need to have a system? Many of us may lack the skills and know how to start. And most of all, a team to help. Not knowing where to begin can be daunting. But what if you can build a home-based business on autopilot? What if you can do so with a team that's dedicated to your success? That's what we do at Join the Bitcoin Revolution. Visit us today, like, share, and subscribe.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's such an awesome evening to be alive. We're super excited. Hi. Good evening, Carl. We're super excited to have everyone who took time this evening to be here. We do value each of your time. I mean, listen, they say time is not something you could retrieve, okay? So every time spent is time that's valuable. And we're here to talk about some opportunities. I'm just going to mute you there for a moment, Carl. And if you are in a background that's noisy, all right, just so that we could ensure everybody hears, and definitely keep yourself attentive so that if you need to mute your mic, you can do that. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to mute out everyone just for a moment while I introduce myself. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for being here. My name is Tennille. I am part of an amazing community of like-minded individuals, and we are here to discuss opportunities that can allow us to earn financial freedom. And that's the theme. It's about financial freedom. We all understand what's taking place in the world today. It's super, super, super unprecedented. And certainly we cannot predict what can happen month to month. In fact, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm from the Caribbean. And just today, we got an announcement that by 12 p.m. or 12 a.m., sorry, by midnight, we're going into another lockdown countrywide. It means that all stores, malls, bars, gyms, everything is going to be shut down for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And of course, we know the impact of a lockdown on jobs. We know the impact of a lockdown on families, on income. And that is why in the last 12 months, I think a lot of us have become a little more aware of the need for us to be able to earn independent of our jobs, independent of our effort. And this is why we're here this evening. We're here to figure out how we can utilize leverage to earn cash flow on autopilot. And this is what we're here to discuss. All right, now I am very excited when I talk about cash flow on autopilot. I mean, there are two Nothing comes without information and understanding. And so what I'm about to do is give that, but we usually start at 7:05. So if you know anyone who you think would benefit from this type of conversation, you have at least a minute and a half to get them on this call. So you could use that same link, get them on the call so that they can hear what we have to say, because it's going to go fast. But again, we want as many persons to get as much information so that when we are at a point of revealing exactly some of the mechanisms in which we're going to use, that they have the foundational understanding to really make an informed choice. All right, so for those of you, let me just see by raise of hands, how many of you here for the first time? If you're here for the first time, I just want to give you a shout out while we wait on maybe a guest that you may have invited. If you're here for the first time, could you just wave your hand so that we could just give you a shout out? Hi, Andre, lovely to meet you. Anybody else? You're here for the first time. You want to just give us a shout out so that we could. Hi, Kia, lovely to meet you. All right, we welcome you to this call. All right, I'm seeing a few persons, Sabrina, Johnny, and of course, I want to give a special welcome to Jerry. I know, Jerry, you have a few people on the call. Good night, Jerry. How are you? All right. So, all right, great. So it's good to have a few of you on this call. So let's go straight into it, okay? Let me ask, of course, we just did a test to see how many of you would participate, but how many of you really need to increase your cash flow? If you're that person, definitely I would want to know who you are, because I'm speaking specifically to you, right? The reason we're here is to discuss this issue of cash flow. If you want to increase your cash flow, can I see by a raise of hands? Because I want to increase my cash flow. I mean, when I saw the opportunities that I'm about to present to you, I certainly felt totally excited, because the idea of cash flow on autopilot, the idea of cash flow in general and increasing it, is something that I'm always interested in. But you know what is most important? What's most important is for us to appreciate how we can earn this cash flow. Because a lot of times individuals are talking about becoming wealthy, but they do not fully appreciate the mechanisms to becoming wealthy. And so I want to just share with you just 3 key leverage points that we must consider when we are assessing opportunities. And the first one is something that is super, super common to most of us, and it's called leveraging our time and our talent, trading time and talent for dollars. Most of us are employees. Most of us are employees or either self-employed, or maybe we have a side hustle, and that's totally common as well. People have, something additional that they do from their primary job. But the reality is that, leveraging time and talent has not brought wealth for the majority of us. It has not brought financial freedom where we can make decisions about how we use our time, because we're still in that job. we're still forced to work for someone else, to trade our time and our talent. The reality though is that it has a risk factor that is super huge, because even though you may be making a good income and it's taking care of your basic needs, and you may have a little extra to take a vacation or whatever it is, I mean, of course, prior to COVID, the reality is that if you are not in your job, if you are not physically, mentally engaged, you can risk that income, because you are trading your time and your talent for this income. So even if you were, let's say, a professional athlete, or you were, an entertainer, and you were earning a lot of money, you are still part of that trade. So we do know of celebrities, for example, who would have lost it all because they were trading their time and talent, and maybe they retired or they got injured or something occurred, and maybe they did not make the best use of their money in terms of other forms of leverage, and they probably became broke and bankrupt. So we know of stories like that. But the reality is that it's a common story, even for those of us who are in typical jobs where we are literally living paycheck to paycheck. Now, the second form of leverage, if you understand how to utilize your income, is called leveraging of your capital, right? But the thing is, and you know, this is common. We know about banks, credit unions, other types of securities that we would put funds towards for us to earn an interest or some form of leverage, and we earn income that way. We could buy stock, shares, bonds, you name it, right? The reality though is when you're talking about leveraging capital, you typically need a whole lot of it. All right. You need significant amounts in order for it to really create that income that will make a difference. So if you are, let's say, for those of us who know about cryptocurrency, and some of us are on passive platforms, right, where we're putting a bit of money aside and getting a rate of return, maybe daily, etc. But the reality is if you're putting just $100, you're not going to really make a lot of money. You need to be putting 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 in order for you to really use that leverage and see your capital and your income grow. But what's the risk with that? There is a risk. Usually, for those who don't have a whole lot, or even if you do, there is a time factor involved, one. And two, what if that particular security, bank, or institution or platform, what if that disappears? The reality is that you are risking your hard-earned dollars in that process. But also you are also risking time, because it may take some time to create the income that you really believe will change your particular situation or circumstance. But the reality is that in doing so, time, we know, has an impact on purchasing power where our dollars are concerned. You know, we know inflation is taking place right now. Inflation is occurring in different ways. Sometimes it's not as obvious, but we go to the grocery store, we go to the hardware, we are seeing that the dollars are giving us less in terms of product. So guys, you know, leveraging capital has a benefit, but if you're working with time, and we're also working with our money, there are risks that we must consider. All right. What's the third leverage point? That's really, 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 I would say, a great leverage point. But here's the thing. We don't typically use this. This is leveraging networks and systems, using other people's time and other people's money. And in doing that, we're using smaller amounts of capital. We may be able to turn over in less time and earn significantly. Now, I recall there was a book written by Robert Kiyosaki, and in fact, the terminologies and also the principles that I just shared here in terms of the different ways to earn is something that was discussed extensively in Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and of course, Cash Flow Quadrant. I do recommend that you look for that information, and it's called the Cash Flow Quadrant because it's 4 areas. It's the ESBI: employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And what Robert Kiyosaki says is, you know, you want to get to a place where you are not working for money, but money is working for you. But this is a wonderful way for you to see how that operates. But he wrote a book a few years ago, and he says the book was titled the Number One Business for the 21st Century. And he's talking about leveraging other people's time and other people's money. And he's talking about networking and stuff like that. And that book really speaks to the right side of the quadrant, right? Where you are engaged in a system, low risk capital, and you are able to earn much more over time. So according to J. Paul Getty, I rather earn 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. And that is something that we need to really think about, because while, of course, all of the leverage areas, trading time for money, that's the employee, right? Trading time for money in terms of, you know, your employee or your self-employed. The fact of the matter is we need to diversify our income generation in order for us to really make it work. But here's the thing. That is for us who are not yet wealthy. The wealthy already do this, all right? The wealthy, they leverage money in the terms of investing. Look at what Elon Musk did the other day. He spent $1.5 billion in the Bitcoin space. he's already made his money, then some, and he continues to invest large. That's an investor, right? An investor buys real estate, does a lot of things. What about the business owner? The business owner has networks, whether it is branches, they have a network of employees, they have systems, whether it's a platform of some kind that they utilize to leverage. So it means that they don't have to be in their business for them to earn. Now, the question is, what are we doing? Now, we see now that there's just a whole lot of disruption taking place in the world today. And when we talk about cryptocurrency, and this entire presentation, trust me, is about cryptocurrency. When we talk about cryptocurrency, we're talking about disruptive innovation. And that refers to any new company or process entering a market, disrupting and outperforming the established players, and eventually transforming either the market itself or the way in which consumers interact with it. That is disruptive innovation. The reality is that cryptocurrency is disrupting the banking system, the financial systems that we know. The opportunity I'm about to speak about is also in that disruptive space, not only because of cryptocurrency, but because of the platform and what it can do relative to not just our trading and building of income, but also because we know that cryptocurrency is going to disrupt things so much that there's going to be a pushback, right? So because of that, we are literally preparing a space to deal even with that pushback. But also, it's important to understand what you're doing in the larger context, because you want to be part of something that's relevant. You want to be part of something that's sustainable. And we've seen in the last 20 years, Uber, the largest taxi company that owns no vehicles, Airbnb, the largest accommodation provider that owns no real estate, Facebook, the largest and most popular media provider that creates no content. We've seen these companies, Instagram, Netflix, Alibaba, all of these institutions and companies have totally transformed the industries within which they operate. And do you know why that is? It is because of the internet, interconnected networks. And when we say, you know what, we want to become wealthy, we have to understand that our methodology of becoming wealthy has to be adjusted. Our mindset has to be adjusted, because if we do not adjust our mindset, we are literally not going to see the kind of income that we desire. All right. So that is what we are here to discuss, our mindset more than anything else, because the opportunity, you will have to decide based on what is required if this is for you or not for you. But I want you to consider this other thing. Ask yourself, how many leverage points am I using on my journey to wealth? Am I doing things only within certain leverage areas, and what are the risks? How am I managing my risks? And this is something that we must consider. So we at Join the Bitcoin Revolution, we understand risk, and we have put together some platforms that we are using actively to manage risk. So I'm just going to show you for a quick moment one of those platforms that we're utilizing, and that's called Watermine, right? Watermine for us is for a leverage of capital platform, so to speak, right? We leverage capital on this platform, and it's great because it gives us everything that we're looking for, right? The reality is, though, we understand the risks when we're dealing with Watermine. We understand that it is a platform that, you know, you're going to put your hard-earned dollars on. You're going to get a return, but we know that we have to manage risk overall, right? So we love this platform. It works really well for us. We have instant withdrawals. The contract period is relatively short. So when we talk about the leverage of our capital, but we look at it also in terms of timelines, because you don't want a timeline that's overly extended, because we understand that there's inflation, the price of the cryptocurrency could be super volatile, you name it. So we understand the different risks, and this platform as a leverage opportunity for us makes sense, right? But of course, what I said before, if you're leveraging capital, you have to put a whole heap of it on that particular platform. So that is why we have decided to look at another leverage point, which is that third leverage point I mentioned, leveraging networks and systems. Okay, so this is where we talk about Co-op 50/50. And this is really where I would like us to focus, because Co-op 50/50 is a crowdfunding platform. It is an automated platform that allows us to leverage networks and systems in the earning of cryptocurrency, in particular Ethereum. And we're doing that not as individuals, but as a cooperative. Okay. Now, I'm going to discuss how this works. And listen, guys, for those of you, for whatever reason, you may be a little skeptical, let me just ask you, please give me like 5 minutes to explain this to you, because let me tell you something, this is changing lives all around the world. We are seeing so many people in different continents crowdfunding together, and they are super excited because the system is totally transparent. It is totally equitable, and it allows persons to have that peace of mind that they can automatically benefit from a cooperative community effort without any middleman or intervention. Now, let's just go back for a minute. What is crowdfunding? Now, we all know the traditional crowdfunding platforms, right? We know about GoFundMe, Indiegogo, Kickstarter. These are platforms that people would request for some level of financial contribution to do certain things, or to create certain businesses, or just deal with a cause of some kind, whether it's a medical issue, community-based issue, or personal issue, or even just to start a business or to launch a product. So we know about crowdfunding, and there are different types, okay? Now, the reality is those platforms do not necessarily guarantee that persons meet their crowdfunding targets. Only, in fact, 20% of persons actually meet their targets within the traditional crowdfunding platforms. So here's the thing, Co-op 50/50 has done something that allows everyone to crowdfund without that issue. And why is that important? You know, I liken it to this thing, you know, many times I would have gone to, let's say, the grocery store or some other location, and someone walks up to me and asks me, could you give me money for A, B, C, D, E, F, G? And there were times where I would be like, yeah, I want to give you something, but I actually, you know, I've already budgeted my money and things are already kind of, you know, in place. You know, for me to give you, it's gonna take away from that. Many times I do give, but there are just, you know, thoughts in the back of my head at times where I'm saying, you know, but this money has a home, you know what I mean? And the reality is that is sometimes what happens with a lot of other people. They want to donate, they want to give to others, but they are typically also in a bind where they themselves need to receive some assistance. Now, what Co-op has done is essentially allowed for everyone to give and to also receive. Now, for those of you who think for whatever reason that this sounds like something else, i.e. gifting, it isn't. It is crowdfunding, but it is a system that totally changes the dynamics of how crowdfunding is done. In fact, Co-op 50/50 has been in existence even before the craziness of 2020. And it has allowed for persons to crowdfund. Over $1 billion of crowdfunding dollars has already been generated within this system. But they have updated the way in which they do things. What they've done is that they have put in a decentralized wallet within their platform. And that allows us to crowdfund in cryptocurrency. So let me just go through really quickly how it works so you get a full appreciation of what Co-op is. So it is a 2x2 peer-to-peer crowdfunding system. 100% of every donation goes to the participants. All right. You always receive 50%, and 50% goes to a teammate. What does that mean in other words? It means that anytime you are in a wheelhouse, which is the mechanism in which it's used, and someone comes into your structure, into your domain, you receive 50% of that particular donation level. All right. It is fully transparent, fully automated, and it cannot be manipulated. There's no middleman. Okay. Now, here is how it actually works. You begin where you fit in, right? So there are 8 levels, and the ultimate goal is to be on all 8 wheelhouses. All right. So as you see there are 8 wheelhouses: $25, 50, 150, 250, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000. Those are wheelhouses. And those are just buckets of donation, or what we call donation centers, right? So once your objective is to get, and of course, all of us, our objective is to get to the $4,000 wheelhouse. And there is where our automation is fully activated. And it means that anytime anyone falls into your wheelhouse, you automatically get 50% of whatever that level is. So let's just give an example. What if you were in the $150 wheelhouse and someone came into your wheelhouse? You get $75 from that person. There are 6 positions on the wheelhouse. So as soon as someone falls into that wheelhouse, you get 50% of that particular donation center. It means that if you cycle just once on all donation levels, you can receive as little as, and I say as little because you could cycle more than once, right? You could receive as little as $23,925 US every month. That is $287,100 annually, and it is done with minimal effort, right? And it is very, very doable. Here's the other thing: you can literally start with just a $25 donation, right? Of course, you also pay a license fee to use the software, which is currently $30 US. So think about it. Here is a leverage point, ladies and gentlemen, a leverage point where you are literally just risking, if you had to put it like that, 25 plus 30 to come into a process, right, where you can essentially be generating nearly 24,000 a month. Now, that particular ratio is unbeatable. Now, you want to ask, of course, how do you receive donations? And this is important because this is where the technology works. You receive donations in 6 different ways. You can receive from your personals. Those are persons that you would have influenced and said, "Here, what? Come and check out Corp 5050. It's an amazing community of people globally. We're crowdfunding using cryptocurrency. You're earning in Ethereum," okay? And you can invite persons, and they would, of course, use your link to essentially get onto the platform. They will be your personals. But you also receive donations from their personals. You get help from above. All right. That is typically what happens if you have a sponsor and they have, a lot of activity going on. You get that type of interaction. You get help from above. You get help from below. You get donations from re-entries. And of course, we also have one direct donation. So there are 6 ways to receive donations. And of course, your ability to get into the system and to really benefit is really, really, truly simple. First, you register. You become an active donor by making a donation. And that donation could be as little as $25, as I mentioned before. And then, of course, you want to keep your wheelhouse even forever, okay? So this is what a wheelhouse typically looks like. This is you in the center here, and you will invite a minimum of 2 persons. Now, for persons who are saying, "Guys, I don't want to invite anybody to something," let me ask you a question. How do you think the banks, how do you think insurance companies, how do you think even Apple and all of these traditional businesses, and even if you're a sole trader, how do you think they keep generating income? They always advertise, etc. I'm just listening on the radio the other day, KFC. I mean, KFC is advertising like 50 times in 6 hours. Like, they advertise tremendously. Is it because people don't know about them? No, it is because they're always looking for customers. Now, the reality is, if you're dealing with a business and a business model and they're not looking for customers, please note that business will die. Okay. Now, because we are doing it independent of, let's say, we're doing it as our quote unquote cooperative business. We're saying make a contribution by bringing customers to the process, okay? Bringing donors to the process. Another way to look at it is this: if you had to do crowdfunding on your own and you set up your own GoFundMe site, let me ask you, who are you going to go to donate? You're going to go to people that you know and people that you do not know. And you'll say, here, what my cause is worthy of your attention. So in this process, it's saying, do not worry about having to go and literally like pound down all of your neighbors, friends, and strangers. We have a process. If you follow this process the way we've designed it, you will see yourself receiving tens of thousands of donations. Okay, so that is what this process recommends and it requires. You help 2 or more to become active donors, and your 2 or more help 2 or more to become active donors, and that is the requirement. Okay, so just 2, as I said, you are even forever. But think about this. Think about this. For those who are listening, think about this. You always get 50%. Do I have any entrepreneurs in the room? Like, honestly, do I have any entrepreneurs in the room? If you're an entrepreneur, could I just see by raise of hands? Are you an entrepreneur in the room? You want to get more than just enough. If you are that person, you and I are kindred spirits. Okay? If you are that person, you always get 50%. When I saw this presentation, I saw this particular line, I said, oh, so if I invited 200 friends or people I don't know, I get 50% over and over again. So why would I limit myself to 2? Now, that's just a thought for persons to really think. Just think about it for a moment. You know why? Because a lot of times we tend to, and I'm saying we, because I would include myself, there are times I do as well. We tend to think about things in a position of lack and minimal. We don't think in abundance. And I challenge you tonight to think abundantly. Okay? So look at this statement. You always get 50%. You invite 1 and immediately receive 50%. Your 1 invites that person who is number 2 here on this line here, you receive 50% over and over and over and over. Okay. Now, what is the technology that's powering this whole thing? It's called a Mobius loop. I wish I could show you. I'm not sure if my screen is my cursor is thing, but it looks something like this. It's like an infinity loop, right? It's going like this. Now, why am I showing you this? Because you see, the system determines who moves and how they move, and there is a sort of principle in that process that demonstrates a cooperative support. Okay, so you never lose your team. Each and every time your wheelhouse fills with 6 active donors, another automatically reopens for you to receive another 6 donations without additional effort or qualification. Your Mobius loop always ensures you follow your inviter and your team always follows you. What does that mean? Let's say I invited Andre. Andre invited Christopher and Deidre, okay? And let's say Andre at some point decides that he no longer wants to be in the process. That does not stop anything, because Christopher and Deidre are technically within my team because they were connected to Andre, who is connected to me. So it means that if Andre turns off all of his donation centers, which he could do, it's called suspension, and he says, no, I'm not going to either renew my license with Co-op, or I'm not going to, I don't want to receive any more donations. What happens is that Christopher and Deidre just, the system just automatically just positions people accordingly. So there is no way in which Andre's decision could stop what this Mobius loop technology is doing. Okay, so that is amazing, right? Every single thing in the system is automated, right? Automated positioning, automated sending and receiving. And listen, this is amazing. automated sending and receiving. You don't have to poke Christopher to say, Chris, hey, you need to send a donation. It does not work like that. The system, because we're dealing with a digital wallet, it automatically sends and you automatically receive within your digital wallet. It's automated entry and re-entry, automated suspend and unsuspend. So that is related to what I said before. Andre could turn off his donation centers if he so desires, right? Or he could turn them back on. But I would not even mess with that, because why would you? I mean, the system is automated. You're gonna get donations automatically, right? You also get emails, congratulations, you've received a donation, or you need to send a donation. They just send those emails as a sort of thing. So if you're the person who has a phone and your phone is your life and everything is on that phone, you literally get dings telling you that you've received donations, etc. And of course, I love this part, automatic history. You get total transparency. Every transaction is recorded, every invoice generated, you name it, is recorded. So there are so many benefits to Co-op. It is limited income to come in, because you literally, if you make a $25 donation, when you receive your donations 6 times, 12.5 dollars per person, that's $75. That is leveraged to open up the new donation center of 50. Plus it allows you to cycle in the 25. And then when you get your donations from the 50 and the 25, you leverage to the next. So literally everything opens up for you automatically within that system. It's a one-time out of pocket. One time out of pocket. You receive donations immediately as soon as someone hits your wheelhouse. You also do it simultaneously. You can literally receive donations simultaneously on every one of those wheelhouses. You also receive unlimited amounts of donations and unlimited amounts of money. It's a global fundraising territory. And it's certainly a fast way to be gaining wealth, gaining capital wealth that could allow you to now have other forms of leverage working for you, like Watermine, like other things. I'm not sure. Many of you may know other things, right? But at the end of the day, what we're looking at in Co-op 50/50 are just a couple of things. One, it's a low risk, it's a low entry level, of course, but it is a community. It has a vision, because in this Co-op 50/50, and I'll show you the back office shortly, we literally could have our own ecosystem in that process, okay? You get your own site, you get your own dashboard, you have your own wallet, like your wallet has its own address, your own tools, and there are tons of support, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now, before I ask and entertain questions, or I ask for persons to entertain, and to entertain your questions, I'm going to sign in really, really quickly into my Co-op website so that I can give you a sense of things. But what I also want to reinforce before before anything is really explained here, is that what I love about Co-op is that there is a lot of structure. The leadership and the coaching and the training that you will get gives you a lot of structure and targets to meet. So you can literally get to the highest level, which is the 4,000 wheelhouse, in 32 days. You can do it in 16 days. There are literally maps that you can find yourself working that process with, and in fact, our team has taken it a step further. We literally have given and we've provided checklists. So once you literally, you decide you want to be part of this team, the person who invited you, you're going to get back to them. We're going to show you our process to take it even further so that you can start seeing significant results right away. Now, in this process, I did it along with my business partner in about 20 days, right? There's some people who do it in 10 days. Some people do it in 30 days. Some people do it in 60 days. Some people do it in 90 days. Everybody has a different timeline, but you have to make sure that your mindset is fixed on whatever target you want relative to your time, okay? And of course, you get a lot of support. So let me just show you. So this is the dashboard here. I'm not sure if it's very clear, but there are 8 wheelhouses. And as you can see, all of my wheelhouses are in black. And that is because all of them are active. And literally, I am, of course, working with my team to make sure that everybody can get to the 4,000 as well. But just in case someone just drops into my wheelhouse, I get a donation. It's on autopilot mode right now, okay? And that is your objective when you get in. So what I'm going to show you right now is what an open wheelhouse looks like, okay? So this is my 25, my 50 right now, it's waiting for people to just drop in. My 150, the 250. So you're seeing some spots that are empty, okay? And anytime anyone, whether they were invited by me or by someone else that's connected to me, whether somebody's connected to me above, below, or wherever it is, I will receive a donation at that level. I want you to also notice, because they changed this recently, where you would see every level, it will tell you how many people you personally invited and where they are on those wheelhouses. So I have 3 persons who I personally invited who reached the 250 level, 3 persons who reached the 500 level. And therefore, it demonstrates to me that I have some work to do with the persons who are not yet at those levels. And when I say work, it's not really work, it's really support. You know, you wanna just support the people who are there with you and say, here, how can I help? You know, what do you need? You know, that kind of thing, right? And remember, this is a platform that, of course, is automated, but it does not in any way take away from the fact that we are people working together and supporting each other. This is a community, I'm telling you. And this is what I love about Co-op, the vision of it, the leadership of it. I don't know if I said to you, but this platform has been in existence since 2001 in some shape or form. Of course, it has been updated over time and improved, especially with this decentralized wallet. And you know what? It's created by a person that we can see. His name is David Rosen. He's from Canada. And this system he has taken all over the world, in China, on the African continent, in Australia, and you know, you name it. United States, of course, the Caribbean. You're seeing a whole lot of participation on this platform, and it's changing a whole lot of lives, right? So you have your wallet. You definitely see all the transactions in your wallet. You know, you get to see every withdrawal that you've made. You get to see every donation that was given, who gave that donation, what time, what day. Every single thing is coordinated and documented within this site. All right, so this is called 50/50. What I also want to let you know is that each person has their own donor key. All right, that's at the top right-hand corner. And that donor key is the game changer as well, because we can literally have our own ecosystem, because we can do what you call member-to-member transfer right in this website. And it means that if I have, if Carl and I decided that we wanted to, let's say, trade a car, I wanted to purchase a car from Carl, I could say, Carl, what's your donor ID? And he can give me his donor ID. And he says, Tennille, it's going to cost you $5,000. I say, no problem, Carl. I'm going to send you the funds on Co-op 50/50. Right? And that is the kind of possibility that we are looking at here at Co-op 50/50. And that is also why we want to make this process as global as possible, even community oriented, even in our physical communities, because we could do so much with this. All right, so guys, if you are on the call, you heard most of the presentation, I'm sure you may have questions. I'm very happy to answer those questions now. So you feel free to raise your hands and unmute your mic. I'll definitely do my best to answer any question you may have. Anyone? Do we have any questions? All right, Carl, you can unmute your mic. I believe.
Okay. But since this is crowdfunding, does it work with the uh, Watermine or?
Right. So what this so for those on Watermine, and I know a few of you are on Watermine, we do work both in the sense that there are some people who may not have $10,000 to put on Watermine. Okay. And what this does is, especially for those who don't have that kind of income, is that we use what we call network leverage to allow us to generate that kind of fund, those kinds of funds that we can then invest and use leverage capital on Watermine. So as a team, we use both together because there are different business models, different risk factors, and different leverage points. Right? So this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, can you only bring in 2 people at a time, or?
You can bring in as many people as you want. If you had 10 persons that you personally want to bring into this, you can do that. There's no limit in terms of the number of people you can invite, right? But they must understand the process. They must be mentally determined to use network leverage in a process like this. So right. I wouldn't just bring people, right? I would make sure that they understand the strategy, because this is strategy. This whole thing is strategy, right? And it's also about looking at sustainable income. Guys, the reality is Watermine or any other platform that you're investing on right now, there is no guarantee that Watermine will be here for 20 years. Yeah? Right. Let's just be real. Right. So you want to find something that has been tried and tested. What I can tell you, Corp 50/50 has been around for a while. The community is solid. The people, the accountability, the concern and care and what's taking place. And of course, we are but a small part of the Corp 50/50 family, right? Once you're part of that dynamic, you will be plugged into all of that as well. But what I'm saying is that this, as a vision for where it could go, has long-term potential, right? And it allows us to generate income such that we could now use that income to use on different leverage areas. So for some people, they may say, here, what? I want to buy real estate. I want to do real estate. So they may decide to use their funds to do that. Or I may want to put some money on Watermine. They may use some of their funds to do that. So the fact of the matter is, whatever leverage or opportunity you want to apply the funds to, the thing is, you're not going to be doing it out of your hard-earned dollars. If you are coming on a platform like this, you're only putting in a small amount. But it's 25, 100, 450, whatever it is a one time. And you are now working with a communal cooperative process so that you can now generate more income that you can leverage in other ways. So Carl, if Watermine, you have a plan. Like I know Jerry is on the call, and even what we are looking at compounding and using Watermine as a way to, create significant income within a few months, right? For some people, they don't have 10,000, 20,000 to put on Watermine. And listen, that's what you need. You need like that kind of money to make Watermine make a lot of sense, right? Within a short period. But most of persons don't have that. So let us then strategically leverage our networks and our cooperative capital to generate income that would allow us to do that type of leverage. And that is what this opportunity affords us to do.
Okay. Well, you answered my question.
Awesome, Carl. So you get back to Jerry or whoever invited you, and we can do another kind of Q&A session, because what I showed you guys, I haven't even scratched the surface as to what Co-op 50/50 actually does in the system itself. There are people who have come onto this and have gotten thousands of US dollars, and they have not even, let's say, pushed the envelope on the system the way they could. Let me put it like that. Yeah?
Right.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? Andre, do you have a question or your hand is just raised? All right, so let me see by raise of hands how many of you are new to this call. This is the first time you're hearing about Co-op 50/50. Could you just raise your hand so I know who you are in the room? All right, hi Kia. Awesome. Anyone else? Hi Chris. All right, of course, Carl, Mario. Awesome. Keep your hands raised, please. Thank you. Anyone else? You're invited by someone. This is the first time you're hearing about Co-op 50/50, or first time you're hearing about leverage at this level, leveraging networks and systems. You want to get out of your financial situation and you're looking for strategic ways to do that. All right, awesome. I'm seeing a few hands raised. So for those especially whose hands are raised, right? I would like you to, especially, and if, of course, even if your hand is not raised, I just launched a poll. I would like to ask if you can kindly answer these questions, because this is really important, right? This poll is anonymous, so don't worry, we are not going to have your information. We just want to get a pulse of what you would have experienced on the call, so that we could respond, maybe because some people don't ask questions, right? So sometimes answering these polls allow us to kind of deal with any gaps that may be existing. I see a mic is unmuted. That's PGI Super. Do you want to ask a question? And while you answer the poll, are you guys seeing my poll? And if you are, could you kindly, while you're probably thinking of your question, could you kindly answer that poll in the meantime? PGI Super, do you want to ask a question? All right, I guess not.
No, not at this time.
Okay, no problem. Would you mind taking the poll in the meantime?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask Lucata, are you there? Do you mind giving a short testimonial of your experience in Co-op 50/50? I'm not sure if he's on the line. Lucata, are you present? All right, I guess not. What about you, Jay Joan? Are you on the call? All right, I guess, hello. All right, Hayden, are you on the call, my dear? Hayden?
Yes, I'm on the call, but my mouth is presently filled right now.
It's okay. We're hearing you. You could go ahead still while we're waiting on the poll.
Okay, well, I just want to say the same thing I keep saying every night, that this thing is real. I'm in the system. I've been based in the system about 2 weeks now, and I didn't even mention it in the last meeting because we didn't have a meeting. But I received another donation about 2 days ago.
Awesome.
Right? I just want to tell people this thing is real. There's no failure to this. There's no stalling to this. And everyone here is for everyone. We are family. Right? We are community building family. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hayden. And again, sometimes you don't, there's so little you can gain from just hearing other people. Sometimes you have to experience something to really appreciate it, and I can tell you from experience, right? When we got into Co-op 50/50 and we actually saw how the system works, it really gave us a very interesting insight as to the potential of this. And what Hayden said, I think also kind of gave a little insight where he talked about the cooperativeness of this donation platform. and it is real, guys. It's really community oriented. Lucas, I see you raised your hand. Are you back in the room, sir? I'm not sure if he is in the room, and he probably raised his hand. Hey Jerry, how are you? You invited a few people, dude. Are you able to just say a quick word before I reveal the results of the poll? I guess he's not able to. That's okay. But anyway, guys, I have 10 persons who responded to the poll. I want to thank each of you who did that, because it just gives us a pulse of what is, what's going on. I see 12 persons responded. If you did not respond to the poll, definitely we would love to get that response. Lucato, I see you're on the line.
Hey, yes. Good night, guys. Are you hearing me?
Very well, loud and clear.
Okay, nice. Hi, guys. I just want to reiterate. I'm a person who came from this gifting thing. I mean, I lost like thousands of dollars doing it, and it really did not make sense. But I got into co-op 50-50, and I just want to say that this system is one of the best things I've ever seen. It really, really works. It's transparent. Everything is automatic, which makes it even better. No room for human errors. So guys, it really, really works. Yeah?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lucato. Thank you for that.
Tennille,
No problem, Tennille.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I just want to tell persons, don't make trying to get two persons a problem. You may not be able to talk and explain it as well as Tennille or Marcia or others, but don't try to explain it. Just invite persons to the meeting and the rest will be done. Right? Don't try to force nobody neither. I simply tell persons I'm inviting you to a meeting. All you have to do is sit, listen, ask questions, and the rest will be taken care of. And we have this mentality that we cannot find nobody. There are people all over, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Telegram, your job places, all over. You just have to speak to them. I'm proposing something to you. It's up to you whether you wish to receive it, yes or no. Give them a little explanation, tell them about the link, tell them the time, and the rest is history. So people, do not take that block out of your mind that you cannot get anybody. You can, and when you start, you wouldn't want to stop. Thank you.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm really excited about that. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a good about 45% of you answer the poll, and we really appreciate that. I'm going to end the poll in a minute. So if you are that person who wants to just get a feel of what we want to understand your process to be based on your presence here tonight, feel free to do the poll. It's not going to take anything from you. It's going to take about maybe 30 seconds. All right. So I'm just going to go to the chat, and I'm going to answer any questions that I see that needs answering. Right. So Miss King, congratulations and welcome to the community. You are now part of Corp 50-50. That's awesome. Ellen, I just want you to direct message me to tell me who invited you, okay? So that I can ensure that I connect with that person and yourself as well. All right, so if you could do that, I'd appreciate that. Carl, wonderful to have you again. Just send me a quick message as to who invited you so I can ensure that I connect with that person as well. All right, so thank you for sending your information, because for those of you who sent me your information, it means that you did the poll. I'm just going to launch the results so that you could see what the results are. So of all of the persons who responded, 36% are employees, or in fact, if you just calculate both of those numbers, you're talking about 79% of those persons who answered are working for money. They are the left side of that quadrant, okay? And we have about 21% who are allowing money to work for them. So that's an encouraging number. All right. How many years have you been on the job market? there are a lot of the persons on this call have been on the job market for over 20 years. All right. Of course, we talk about, cryptocurrency, and a lot of persons, 64% of the persons who answer the poll, they've heard about it, but they're new to the concept. And what I would say is, if you're new to cryptocurrency, please do not worry. Okay, do not worry. Don't think in any way it's a difficult mental leap that you have to make. It is it's very straightforward, and you will get there. Right? Take it one step at a time. The first thing you want to do is go on YouTube. Go on YouTube, type in what is cryptocurrency, and trust me, you are going to have a time, because you're going to find a lot of information about cryptocurrency, about the change that's taking place in the financial world, about the risk that banks have right now, and how digital wallets are the future. You're going to see all of that, okay? But you want to get back to the person who invited you, because most likely that person already has information that could be helpful to you, okay? So don't just, because there's also a lot of stuff that could be a little misleading, right? So you just want to get back to the person who invited you, or get in touch with us. jointhebitcoinrevolution.com is our website, and we will guide you where possible. Now, I'm going to leave number 4 for last, so I'm just going to move on to number 5. I'm seeing that the majority of persons, 36%, need more information. If you are that person, you want to get back to the person who invited you, or you want to leave your information with us so that we could get in touch with you. Now, when you leave your information with us, we need to know who invited you to this call, because we have to get back to that person, okay? So that we can keep that connection clear. All right. So please, if you need more information, that's okay. We'll be happy to give it to you. But do get back to the person who invited you, or send us a message with your name, email, and or telephone number, along with the name of the person who invited you. All right. So of course, if you want us to contact you, send us your information, and we'll be able to do that. So let's go back to this question: which is more valuable to you? It definitely touches my heart and demonstrates to me that some of the people on this call may have come to a call before, 1, but 2, that they truly appreciate this concept of time as being the most valuable commodity that we own, right? Because a lot of us think money is more valuable, but it isn't. There are people who could lose money today and earn it tomorrow, but we could never regain time. Many times some of us wish we could be 25 again, but we can't go back there. We have to move forward, right? And now we have to utilize whatever time we do have with a sense of urgency. Now, the problem with our money and time is this: most of us trade our time that is more valuable than money, and more valuable than the money that we earn. We trade our time for that money, right? We lose time with our family. We lose time doing the things that we should be doing because we're chasing just over broke, as opposed to looking for ways in which we can buy more of that valuable time back. And this is what we are discussing tonight. How could we buy back our time? How could we get out of that chasing money by trading our valuable time for dollars that is not as valuable? So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I want to thank each of you who took the time to be here, right? We value your time. And we want to work with you if you feel that this is something that you want to do as well. We want to work with you to support your financial goal, because once we can get, once we could cooperatively get to a place financially where we're free, we can buy back our time. So I want to thank each of you for being here. All right. Definitely get back to the person who invited you, and we will be back tomorrow at the same time with the same link. Feel free to invite a friend, and we definitely look forward to seeing you at the top. Okay, guys? So you could unmute your mics For those who send their information, we have access to it. Thank you so much. You can unmute your mics and we will say good night and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Good night.
All right, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Night, night. Blessings to you. All the
Yes.
best,
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
Yes.
Night to night.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. See you. Take care. Sleep well.
Good night. Bye.